and computer engineering has to do with the programming aspect, which is also a huge part. Except mostly during these 4 days, we're going to look into informational, mechanical, and electrical, because that is what I am strong at. I might have my brother come in one day and talk about the computer science aspect because he's very smart in that. So yeah, basically, to with the in the next 4 days, I'm hoping to convince you guys to do robotics, because I'm not going to lie. As soon as I started robotics in 8th grade, I wasn't like the biggest fan of it, and I had my brother pushed me to do it, and then I loved it very much, and I look forward to it every week during robotic season. So I hope to convince you guys to do the same, and so you guys can actually pursue it. Yeah. So there are 3 laws of robotics. Law number 1 is that a robot may not injure a human being, or through inaction allow a human to come into harm. The second law is a robot must obey orders given to it by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And the third law is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. Okay, so what is the basic definition of a robot? So what must be in a machine in order for it to be a robot? Ani, what do you think?
Maybe a motherboard.
Okay, so that is just a machine. That is the brains part. There has to be, in order for it to be classified as a robot, wait, I'll get into that later, but a robot is a machine that can be programmed to do a series complex of actions. So there are a few examples. What do you think one is? Ishita, do you know an example of a robot?
No?
No? Okay, so there are a few. For example, a Tesla. So not every car is a robot, but a Tesla in specific, because of all its complex autopilot. So pretty much, if you don't know, a Tesla could drive itself around, but a human has to be in the car. But because of this advanced technology, it can do all of the driving by itself, which makes it a robot. Another example is a drone, iRobots, planes, and etc. So in order for something to be classified as a robot, it needs to be able to sense, think, and act. Every robot is a machine, but not every machine is a robot, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. It needs to be able to sense, think, and act. It has to have those 3 aspects. So for the first aspect is sense. So the basic definition is sense means it must have some type of sensors. The sensors are so we have our 5 senses: hearing, smelling, touch, the basic stuff. So pretty much this is pretty much the robot's 5 senses. A light sensor basically detects the amount of light reflecting off of the surface, and it can tell the color based off how much light it senses. Touch sensors. So let's say you have an iRobot. An iRobot, as soon as it goes into surfaces, it notices that it's touching something and goes into a different direction. Cameras have its basic functions. It can detect many things. Temperature sensors can detect the temperature in an area. So suppose you're on the rovers on Mars, they have temperature sensors in order to detect how cold Mars is. And finally, accelerometers. Accelerometers, based on vibration, can detect the acceleration of a vehicle. So they're on many common devices today, such as planes, cars, all that. The next aspect is think. So this is pretty much the brains of the robot. which is microcontrollers and microprocessors. So pretty much how we have a brain, this has microcontrollers and microprocessors which can process all the data. And finally, the act. So in this case, act is physical movements. So there's something called an actuator. An actuator is something that converts one form of energy into another. So in the case of robotics, it converts electrical energy from the battery into a physical energy from the motor. So pretty much stepper motors, servo motors, what you see in the background is a servo motor. If you join robotics, you're going to see this a lot. Okay, so this is an example of a robot. Can anyone tell me why?
It has sensors.
Okay, and do you have any Ishita, do you know can you give me a detailed explanation if you know, or?
It's mechanical and it's capable of performing a variety of tasks. And when you command it to do something, it does it.
Yeah, that's almost perfect. Yeah. So there's sense, think, and act. It has a touch sensor. So whenever it runs into surfaces, it knows to back up. And the think aspect, it has a microprocessor inside it, and it maps out a room. You see that on the side over there, how it's mapping out the room. And then the act is, it has motors on the bottom, which are wheels, and it goes everywhere around all areas. And this is an iPhone. This is an example of not being a robot. Do you know why it isn't a robot? Ani, do you know why an iPhone is not a robot?
No.
No? Okay, so an iPhone, it has two aspects of being a robot. It can sense and think. For example, when you're unlocking it, right, with Face ID, it senses your face and then it thinks, is this the right person? Is this the owner's face? And if it isn't, it doesn't unlock. But if it is, it does unlock. But unfortunately, it doesn't have the act feature. So it doesn't have a physical motor, like your iPhone doesn't move around, and yeah, pretty much. So there is something else. It's called a bot. It's not there's a difference between a bot and a robot. A bot is a robot without the physical aspect. So it has sense, think, but not act. Examples of this is a Siri assistant, Alexa, chatbots, Google Assistant. Oh, my Alexa just went off. And etc. And does anyone have any questions before we watch this video?
No.
No, not really.
No.
Okay. So tomorrow, we're gonna watch this video, and that's gonna be the end of our class today. But tomorrow, I'm gonna go into the robotics league I'm in, and how to build a robot and the basic components of everything, and how it works. I'm gonna show you video of the challenges that we've had in the past. I'll show you video of my robot in action and everything. Tomorrow's gonna be a really interesting class. So we're just gonna watch this video real quick. Wait, I don't know if you guys can hear the audio. Wait, can you guys hear the audio from this?
I can't.
No.
Can't. Sec. Let's see. Just give me a second. I'm gonna try to. Okay, how do I make the audio? Can you hear it now?
No,
No.
but I have a question. Did you like allow the Zoom to have permission for the audio and when you're presenting?
Yeah, I did give it permission for the audio. Just give me a second. I'm gonna try to. I'm not sure why the audio is not working for the computer. Give me a second. There are technical difficulties. Yeah, so I'm not very sure why this isn't showing the audio. This is honestly my first time using Zoom. I'm used to Google Meet, but yeah, I'll just like explain to you the video as it's going on. So pretty much these are the top 10 robots that are currently available. So I'll show it to you. I'll explain it to you as it's going on. Okay, so this is number one. This is pretty much a robotic dog made by Sony. If you know, it's a very big company nowadays. So this has the brain, very strong, very smart brains, and it can actually act like a real dog. And it costs about $1,800, except it's only available in Japan. It's like it's very advanced technology. It has multiple cameras on it for sensing, and yeah, it can pretty much think like actual dog. It's pretty cool. So if you guys have heard of Google Assistant or Alexa, this pretty much has the same actions of it, except it can actually interact with you. So instead of only you asking it questions, you can also ask it questions. It'll also ask you questions, keep you company, make jokes. It's pretty cool. I think it's about $900 for this. It's pretty cool. Let's go to the next one. So the next one is called Pepper. This robot is so cool because it interacts with you like an actual person, and it's pretty much a host. So let's say you go into a restaurant, this would greet you. You can see these in places like Japan, Singapore, many other places. I've seen something close to this. It's pretty cool. So the next one is called Buddy. This robot, you could buy it right now. Actually, it interacts with you. It's like pretty much having a pet or like a real person. It can interact with you like that, and it'll memorize you everything. It's like having another person in your family. That's how cool it is. It's very advanced technology. Let's go to the next robot. Okay, so this is a robot lawnmower. It's really advanced technology. It's pretty cool, actually. So you don't have to mow the lawn yourself, you know? It's like very cool. Okay, so this is called the Cosmo. You could buy it right now. It's pretty much something that's made for kids, and it can play games with you. It's pretty cool. You could buy it right now if you want. If you're just like bored, it'll like play games with you. It'll memorize you. It'll know your name. It's like it'll act like a real person, just like the other ones. So this comes at a much lower price point. Oh, this one scares me. It's called a Hexa. It's pretty much for people that are in developing robots, and it's pretty much for people who are just getting into it. And yeah, people mess around with it, program it, and yeah, it does some complex series of actions. So it's not very important. Oh, this is called a big eye. Not much is known about it, except it looks like a trash can and it'll interact with you. Pretty much. I mean, it's called the big eye because it has a huge eye, as you can see. But yeah. And lastly, this is the most interesting one that I would recommend all of you to get. It's called Lego Mindstorms. And pretty much this one, I'm gonna stop on this real quick. It's really cool because if you're just getting into robotics, you could make anything out of this. Like, let's say you have a dog, you can program it to throw treats at your dog every 2 hours. Pretty much. It's like you could do anything with it. It's really versatile because it's Legos. You know, you could build anything out of Legos. You could make this have any function with Lego pieces. And programming it isn't hard either because it's just blocks that you put together. So all you have to do is, okay, so back to the dog treat thing. Let's say you're going out for the weekend, and then you want your dog to have a treat. So you're just like, so you just program it in a block every 2 hours. Move your motor, so it'll move the motor to fling a dog treat out. Pretty much like that. It's pretty cool. You could do anything with it, anything that you can imagine. So not things that are like too complicated. Pretty cool. Yeah, so those are pretty much all the robots. Yeah, I don't think too many people joined today, so yeah. Tomorrow I'm gonna talk about all the my league in robotics and how it is for me and how I built our robot from scratch. It's gonna seem like a lot, but honestly, when you're working with the team, it gets pretty fun. And yeah, I have a lot of fun with it, and I can't wait to show you guys how my robotics league works tomorrow. Yeah, so that's it for today's class. Have a great day, everybody. Bye, Aniket. Bye, Ishita.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.